I'm going to start by talking about some of your accomplishments because the list is long. And just in terms of background, we got a chance to work together at Twitter, and Uche was one of those people who could pull together multiple stakeholders. It's not the easiest thing to do in a matrix organization and actually get things done. So that's where our paths crossed. But you have trained as an electrical engineer, you studied at MIT, you've worked at Twitter, Microsoft, and now Google. And I think, a huge pat on the back for everything you've accomplished so far.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It takes a village, and I've been extremely fortunate to have a really good support system, and a very strong women too. Very strong role model women. So yeah, it's been.
Well, let me ask you a little bit about that, Uche, because one question I have for you, especially for women in STEM, if you had a message for your younger self or for younger women who are going into these fields today, what would that be?
Oh, growing up in STEM, it was a lonely situation. Not many women of color and not many women. I think one of the biggest things I wish I would have had more and more just reassurance is that I'm meant to be here, right? There's no such thing as a gender that's more qualified for STEM. We are all equally capable of the sciences as well as the arts. And so just constant reinforcement of anything that's inside you, the ideas, they're all equally relevant. It doesn't really, the gender is not what determines your abilities, right? And so, and certainly not skin color. So just that really just confidence boosting to understand that like you're meant to be here, you have the potential to be able to create, ideate, and it has nothing to do with gender. It has more to do with your creativity, your curiosity, and your drive. So encouragement, really. Encouragement is the name of the game because, yeah, it's not going to be easy. You may not see people that look like you throughout the journey, but that isn't to deter you. Like, I really, not only is it important we have more women, as I've gone through my career in STEM, males and females bring different perspective and different skill sets. Like, pattern recognition is a huge part of a lot of the capabilities and foundational elements to technology. And I find that it just came naturally to me. My ability to put things together, collaboration is super important in engineering. So there is a need for these kinds of traits. And, a lot of women can bring this to the table without even having to consider it. So encouragement and don't be deterred.
And, you've spoken in the past about the tangible benefit of having diverse teams. That's something you're very passionate about.
Yes, because I know that the word has been, there's been a lot of marketing associated to the word diversity. But what I talk about is diversity of perspectives. In any given situation, you're able to see one angle of things. And the more people you're able to bring together to the table to help you collate a much more comprehensive, cohesive view of something, the stronger your ability to solve that problem is. The more ideas that will be brought to the table and the different perspective. And especially because as engineers, we're solving problems for other people. And you may not have had that lived experience, and that's okay. But having a team, building a team that has many perspectives, you have a higher chance of being able to create that empathy that's required to try and look at the problem from the user's perspective so that you're more detailed, so that you think about the nuances that if you haven't lived it, you may not even realize is happening in that part of the world or for those user segmentation. So it's very important that you're collecting different perspectives. It's very important that you build a team that doesn't look like you, right? If you build a team that looks like you, you're limited to yourself and your capacity. You always want to be expanding and looking at what don't I know, right? That's the curiosity element. Like, what don't you know? And lean into that. The unknown is the beginning of discovery. It's the beginning of really being innovative, right? What you already know, you've already done. It kind of limits that creativity. So I'm always looking for different perspectives. And that's where diversity, it's not just diversity of backgrounds, it's diversity of lived experience, perspective, skill set. The more in that diversity corner, the better for us.
No, that's fascinating. And it's incredible to have seen some of that in action, because it's
Yeah.
very difficult to actually, pull it off. You make it sound easy when you talk about it, but it's really hard to pull that
I
off.
lean into it, Amrita. I think that people fear of the unknown is a big deterrent for people, but I look at fear as it's sort of my like personal assistant in my brain helping me figure out what I don't know. It's like, have you considered that? Right? What about this? What if this happens? It helps me like spar to be like, okay, this situation, I've never been there. How should we look at it? How can we risk mitigate? And when you flip the fear into that mode, you realize it's a tool for you, right? You don't want to go into a situation unprepared. So having something that is questioning the way you're thinking or saying we don't know what's going to happen, I turn that and go, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. What if this happens? I start to do scenario and I spar with myself. And then I have actual concrete things I could use to mitigate risks as they show up, right? So I use everything as a tool for myself. Like, you can't lose. You just cannot lose if you look at everything as a tool.